Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yeukai Ketchadori.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special episode. With me is Alexander Morris. I like to call him Alex. Alexander, thank you so much for joining me, man. All the way from Australia, man.
Good morning, Yeukai. Good evening for you. Lovely to be here.
Oh, thank you, man. You know, you've discovered something very, very powerful over the last 3 years that any business owner, if they listen to this, apply to what you're about to say, they could see dramatic change in their marketing efforts, in their business growth. What is it?
Might be surprising with all the bells and whistles and advances in technology we've got, but we find that keeping it simple is always best.
Indeed. Keeping it simple is always the best. And you always start very simple as well, you know, for some of your customers, you know, with a very minimum budget. Talk us through that process very briefly before I properly introduce you here.
100%. So basically, we found the issue that people were having with a lot of marketing companies was that they would come in, promise the world, build this incredible big sales process and funnels with calendar integrations and email follow-ups and all these different sequences and tags and automations, and it would look great. But the problem is sometimes they launch the ad and it was a flop, which does happen sometimes. Problem is now they've spent thousands of dollars and all this time building all the stuff in the back end. What we do is we flip it on its head and we just test the bare bones of the ad first. We test, do people want the offer? Do they like the image? Do they like this copy and headline? Do they resonate? Once we've proven that works, we add the next step. Once the emails work, we add the next step. So we're just adding to the pipeline one piece at a time rather than building the whole ecosystem first. Because that way you mitigate a lot of risk. If you've got one simple thing that needs to change, then you can change that without having to go back to the drawing board.
Indeed, it makes so sense and it's very simple. And oftentimes we complicate things. Simple always wins every single time. And that brings me to a point where I can introduce you, Alex. Truly, you are an outstanding man. Alex is the founder and director of To The Moon Digital marketing agency based in Sydney, Australia. And his focus is basically on high-end lead generation for coach and consultant like you and I. Let me ask you a question. If you ever wondered, how can you fill your calendar with qualified leads every week without building a single landing page? Well, today you might just get that answer because Alex has been doing this for many, many other people. In fact, recently, one of the ad spend was over $800,000. And I can't wait to discover exactly the simple process. And we've entitled our conversation here, the 4-part series, or process to go from zero to a hero through the strategies that Alex has. Alex, again, thank you for joining us here on the show for the first time, man.
Mate, thank you for having me. You're a very well-researched and eloquent interviewer, so thank you.
Thank you, man. Listen, there are people here, me included, that have been looking for strategies to scale their coaching programs. And you have discovered something that many people are still struggling to identify. Talk us through the 4-part process that you use, and perhaps you can start with how you discovered it.
Yeah, 100%, man. So basically, the 4-part process that we use, I call it the Mars method, which is just a lovely little piece of branding because my business is called To The Moon Digital. Everything's got that sort of space theme going on, you know? Yeah. It's really an acronym for something that's not so fancy that I've branded nicely. And I think you'll find that when I'm talking about what we do, we're not reinventing the wheel with anything. We're just basically doing simple stuff well, you know, lots of simple things done well. I used to be a chef, and there was this famous chef called Marco Pierre White in England. He says that cooking is lots of little things done well. Same for marketing. It's not, you don't have to be a big genius to do this sort of thing. So what we're basically doing is doing every step as deep as we can. The first one is M in Mars. M is market. And we deep dive on the market. And as coaches, it's really, really important that we know everything about our clients. It's a vulnerable relationship. It's a deep relationship with your clients. So we have a certain set of questions that we ask our clients about their market to really get into their head and know exactly what's going to drive them forward to make a decision. Our favorite question is one which is, how would your dream client finish the sentence? If only I could just.
Yes.
What would they say after that? If we can start to figure that out, we can get into writing some incredible ad copy and putting out offers that will attract that person. That leads me to the second step, which is attract.
Before we move on to the second one here, and I know Bill is listening in the audience here, may want to explore further, on identifying what their ideal clients are looking for. I know the first question you've given us is really provides so much into what's going on in the desires of the ideal clients. Are there any further, maybe 2 qualifying questions that, we need to be considering whenever we're sort of looking at our clients?
I think qualifying is a very important thing, that word you just used, because once again, in coaching, we don't need thousands of customers. We need like 26 and we're good. So it's really important that everyone that is in your sort of perfect-ish demographic and they resonate with you and your business really well, vice versa, because we've all had clients that we struggle with and that we've taken on who maybe shouldn't be engaging in our services, but at the time we wanted to sell. We've all done it.
I know that very, very well, because in the beginning I used to get everybody that he says, hey, I've got the money. And then discover later on that the money sometimes, even though it may be a lot of money, but the emotional, investment you put on there far outweighs what you're going to get. So it's absolutely crucial. Sorry, I interrupted you there, Alex.
No, you're all good, man. So qualifying, I think, is hugely important. And that does change from niche to niche. But what you'll find is that coming through your calendar, your ads process, your marketing process, even if you mention in the ad copy, in the imagery, in the email follow-ups that you're looking for people of a certain level, 6 figures a year, that sort of thing, or people who are, from this age to this age, people don't really read all of it. So you've got to put in a lot of steps in place. One thing I've recently done that changed a lot of stuff for a few of my clients was they were getting lots of bookings in their calendar, but from the wrong people. So all we did was put in one simple step inside their sort of Calendly app, which said, okay, Yeukai, just before you book, this is an opportunity that will only work if you are X, at X level. If you're currently making $8,000 to $10,000 a month, or this will only work if you have an injury that you've been struggling with for years. This isn't for you otherwise. Please click to confirm that's you. And doing that one little step generally takes people's bookings down by about 50%, but increases the quality. So you've got to really put in barriers in place rather than asking specific questions, because that's very coach specific. It's kind of like putting more red tape in front of booking with you.
That's right.
And creating that exclusivity rather than just letting in as many people as possible. That's great at the beginning. So you learn to hone in your skills on the phones and sales. But as you get further into your business to the point where you can afford a marketing agency, that sort of thing, you don't have the time to be dealing with people who just can't engage in your services. So actually making it harder to book with you is quite important at that point.
Amazing. I love that, because we do that even with our podcast. We don't just get any guest. Our listeners know that as well, that we put certain measures in place to make sure that we end up with high quality people. It's just incredible. I'd love to talk about how to, the second step, which is the attract part.
Absolutely, yes. So we've all seen the lead magnet style of ad on the internet.
Oh, yes.
PDFs, free checklists, free blueprints, that sort of thing. We definitely still use that style of advertising because it's kind of that first step in a funnel to introduce you and your business to a cold audience who haven't heard of you. You've got to give them something. if you don't have a brand yet, a big brand, if we're not Tony Robbins, which none of us are yet, it's very difficult to say, come work with me. So you've got to give them something first that lets the customer know that you know what you're talking about, and it lets you know that the person downloading it needs the help that you can deliver. So we've realized that the kind of lead magnets that actually work are ones that are very, very tangible, very, very simple, kind of plug and play processes that people can go through and apply it to their business. Before you ask me, what are some steps that people can apply to their business that we can mention on the podcast? We love giving people that sort of thing in a lead magnet. Great examples are in the fitness space, a free workout, that sort of thing. And we have to add levels of uniqueness to your business. So it's something no one's ever seen before, but a free workout, a free meditation they can take home, a journal they can do every morning, a template they can plug into their business in a business sense. One of my clients, his best performing lead magnet is a cash flow spreadsheet, which you take that template, plug your numbers in, and it creates all these projections and reports for you. And this is for builders who are great at building, but aren't great at, spreadsheets. And that's been his best performing lead magnet because it's tangible, solves a problem, it's simple. Fluffy lead magnets, aren't really good enough anymore. By fluffy, I mean things that don't offer a tangible outcome. 17 different ways to align within your true power as a spiritual super being, the kind of stuff that we hear coaches talking about that makes sense to them, but is gobbledygook to the person downloading it,
I like how you put it across.
That's the second step. Attract is get something really good, put some real effort into that lead magnet, make it tangible, and make it all about the outcomes for the lead and them being blown away when they use it.
That's right. What normally happens is when people have something for free and they see that it works, their beliefs in your system and in themselves grow. And then they want to learn more, because one of the things that people don't buy is because they doubt themselves. But if you give them something simple, and their beliefs in themselves grow, and then they say, oh, this person helped me believe in myself that I can do this. Through their processes, I wonder what else they can do when I pay a little bit of money. And it truly is amazing. Let's jump on to talk about the R part of the Mars method.
Yeah. So R has always been retarget, but I've lately made it a double R and made it rapidly retarget. Okay. Yeah. So retarget is generally, in an ad sense, getting more ads in front of someone who has seen or engaged with your content. We've all done it. We've all searched for holidays to Bali, and then suddenly you're seeing ads for EasyJet all over the internet, that sort of thing. That's retargeting, but we try and do that in a much quicker process. And basically, so as soon as you've downloaded our lead magnet, we're going to get back in front of you with an offer, whether it's via emails that day, in Messenger, straight away with lead form, or with some manual follow-up saying, hey, Yeukai, notice you downloaded our free cash flow template to help you to manage your profits and your taxes in just 20 minutes a week as a builder. Now, I noticed that maybe, spreadsheet's not your favorite thing, and that's why you've downloaded this. If you'd like, mate, I'll be very, very happy to book in a 20-minute session and take you through that and show you how to plug it into your business the first time. You're going to get better results. It'll be much simpler. And I think that in general, it'll be more useful for your business. When's a good time to do that? Or, hey, I noticed you downloaded my free 7-minute meditation to help remove your money blocks. Are you much of a meditation person? This one's a little bit different. I think I'd be very happy to find a spot that works for both of us. I can actually take you through that process the first time live on the phone, and we'll apply it to your unique situation and your unique beliefs. It's going to be so much more effective. And that becomes a very, very simple, understandable reason for that person to get on the phone with you, rather than saying, hey, you downloaded this book. How about a discovery call? it doesn't work anymore because people are skeptical. They don't have time anymore. You've got to give them some really tangible outcome on that call.
That's right.
Which says, which is super congruent with what they've just downloaded, and they can see the path. These discovery call strategy sessions, I personally don't like to use the terms. I know they still work for people. I think we need to move away from them and come up with more tangible outcomes. So that's the rapid retarget. And that continues, with email follow-ups that kind of just tap people on the shoulder every now and then. And then every now and then, if you have a sales team, you can have someone, reach out and form a relationship.
It makes perfect sense, and who doesn't want a proper conversation immediately after, because it is still fresh in their mind. And I can see how this can work on me, and I can see how it could work on anybody, and love how you have explained that. I think you did that in the last, with one of your clients recently, that you got some amazing results. Do you mind sharing some of those results?
Yeah, 100%. So, a perfect example is the gentleman we were just talking about, Andres, who is the construction coach. He just had he was like one client away from doing his first 6-figure month this month, which were in November, which is really exciting for me. And we did that very, very simply just by following that process. Download the cash flow template, find the right audience, get some names, emails, phone numbers, offer people the chance to have a professional, financially qualified coach take them through that. And then they get their mind blown. They hop onto a second call, in the bag, new client. Miranda, I took her example from the meditation, exact same thing. Miranda has a high-end program, which is about a sort of 12,000 Australian dollars. So I think that's about 8,000 pounds at the moment. And she found all the leads for that one by initially getting them in to go through a free meditation process with her that they downloaded. Free meditation process, because she needed a bit more qualification. She took them through it and said, I'd love to have you on this masterclass I'm doing in a couple of weeks' time. Come to that class. It's only a handful of people come along. On that class, she'd formed an enormous amount of trust by the end of that one. So when she comes to pitch a 8,000 pound product, then it's not completely out of the blue. So she just did $200,000 in her last launch. She's a single mum. She's done that twice this year. So that's really, really exciting.
It is brilliant.
And then you did mention at the beginning, we have one of our biggest success stories. He made James $800,000 off one campaign, and that's cash in the bank as well, which is great. With James, he was actually the gentleman who made me realize how simple this can be, because he ran a digital marketing school, basically. Online, taught people how to start a digital marketing business, not just to run Facebook ads. Really, really great product. What we did with him was we tried all the bells and whistles, sales pages, all the fancy stuff. But what worked was a simple messenger campaign, which said, we are looking for people to learn how to become a digital marketer in 2021, it may have been. And we've actually got some subsidized scholarships available. This is not a marketing technique. This is the truth. We never lie to people. That's very, very important, Yeukai. In your marketing, when you say things like, we're giving away subsidized scholarships, 100% has to be true, because it'll catch up with you. It'll bite you on the ass if you're lying to people, right? As your brain grows. With him, this was the process that made $800,000. We got 15 spots to give you a subsidized scholarship valued at, I think it was about $10,000. We took the original program, and then for people who we thought were, I suppose, qualified to do it and we get good results, we added in $15,000 of extra value, coaching, one-to-one time. And then we took the price off that one. So we just gave them the initial program for free. No, they paid for the initial program. Everything else is free. And so literally people would come into a messenger chat, answer a few questions to apply for this scholarship, sell themselves to us. We would say, when's a good time for us, I think we called it relationship team or our enrollment team, to give you a ring. and talk about how we can help you to start this process. And 80% of them were just like, Friday, 4 p.m. So Friday, 4 p.m., James or his team would ring this person and they'd already pre-sold themselves on the course. So the only thing we sent them was a page of testimonials and a course outline. And we branded the hell out of him to make him look like as good as a university, which he is really. Yeah. And people just came through and through one simple messenger chat, applied, booked into their calendar, and knew exactly what they were coming for. Over the next 6 months, he did $800,000 in cash.
Wow.
We didn't build a single landing page.
Wow. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. One thing I like about that is the simplicity with which you do. Everybody knew what they were doing. Amazing. Let's dive into the last part as we come toward the end of our time here together. You talk about S for scaling.
Yeah. Well, scaling was the secret. One of the biggest secrets to a lot of my clients' success at the moment is this kind of agreement we have with them that when they start making their first sales in their business from the campaigns we've created, we don't, tiptoe around. We take that profit, put it straight back into the marketing campaign and scale it so that lead flow becomes consistent, it becomes predictable. So then they can afford to go out and get someone to set appointments for them, to contact their leads. They can afford to, launch additional campaigns to expose their videos to more people. Basically, we believe that when something's working, you turn it up, and then you deal with the consequences of having too many leads. It's not that bad of a problem. If you have to hire staff,
that one.
Absolutely. So if you have to hire staff, you've got to put yourself in a position where you're at your capacity before you hire them, but you've got the money there to do it. So we love that. We love it when a client sends us a message like, I need you to help me find a sales guy, or, this one's full, turn it off, that sort of thing. And we'll go, we're not going to turn it off. We're not going to turn your ads off, but we can lower the spend for a few days while we sort out the next plan. So scale is basically the first step is putting some money back in as soon as you make it and trusting the process. And then once you've proven that first step, expanding out with additional campaigns. But you never launch step 2 until you've proven step 1, because then you're diverting your attention around too much. And when you're trying to, we both know when you're trying to catch 2 rabbits at once, you don't catch any.
Well, thank you so much for simplifying that mass process. We are right at the end of our time together, and I know there will be people, Alex, that really wants to learn more or maybe engage in some of your services. Where can they find you?
Yeah, man. So thank you. We're called To the Moon Digital, as in we're going to the moon.
Oh, by the way, your site is pretty awesome, guys. You just have to go and check that site. There will be a link below here, so you can just check. If nothing else, just check how it is well laid out, and the testimonials. There's plenty of testimonies there. I was checking it out, Alex. I love what people are saying. But go ahead. What is the name of the website?
It's tothemoondigital.com.au. So we're in Australia. And anywhere you search To the Moon Digital on social media, we'll be there. We post a lot of great sort of reels and tangible infographics on Instagram. Really good place to follow us because we're giving away all of our best knowledge for free on there. I truly believe that. And To the Moon Digital on Instagram, Facebook, and the website.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Before I let you go, Alex, I know you've got 2 precious little ones there that are about to wake up in the morning. Before I let you go, you mentioned the number 26, which is somewhat, the the ideal number for coaches to know. You were talking about that. That seems to be consistent among a lot of people. How did you come up to that?
I honestly just pulled that out of nowhere this morning. But what I mean by that is that in our lead generation space, and when I said we need 26 clients, that kind of makes sense to me. I feel like whenever I've gone into having more than 25, 30 clients, that's when I start to struggle a little bit, and you've got to change your business model. But as a solopreneurial coach, which most of us are, the style of marketing we're doing is not the same as an e-commerce style of marketing where you're trying to sell bulk t-shirts or as many health teas as possible. You're trying to funnel people down from being a very broad audience to being just a handful of qualified leads. And so that's why lead generation for coaches is so different from e-commerce. And that's why I really think we resonate so well with the coaches we work with, because that's all we do. There's a lot of digital marketing agencies out there. They do some e-com, they do some lead gen, they do some, websites and funnels. They do a lot of stuff, which is great. We just do the one thing, which is how do we move people from not knowing who you are to wanting to speak to you as quickly as possible. So when I said 26, it just means quality over quantity.
Absolutely. For me, the number is 20. If I've got 20 of a month, by the way, not just more than that, and really get to spend some time with them, and 10 each week, and then another 10 the following week, because we alternate. And I could go to 26 or even 30, but I'll be pushing it. But the 20 is a sweet spot for me and many of my clients. So I'd love to hear your take on that. Any final thoughts to budding entrepreneurs here before we sign off?
I think the main one that I get for coaches, which I come up across all the time, is just how can you explain your offer to someone who's never heard of you in one sentence? Because I get a lot of, we do coaching for new coaches, by the way. We teach them how to launch their own ads and build their brand, that sort of thing. And very often in that first conversation, I'll say, Yeukai, tell me about your business. Who do you help and how do you help them? And 2.5 minutes later, they're still telling me. So that can be very confusing for a prospect or a lead if you can't be concise about your offer. So I think that's really, really big. And that kind of leads me on to the second point, which is refine your niche as much as you can to remove yourself from this big pool of people who will always have bigger brands and bigger budgets than you, which is fine. Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, all these big names in business coaching, for example, they're always going to beat us, which is fine if we say we work with business owners. So how can we niche that down one step and put us back into a nice little blue ocean again? Potentially I work with construction business owners in Australia, or instead of saying I'm fitness for women, I am fitness for mums of multiples, that sort of thing. I am a photography business for commercial real estate rather than I'm a photographer. Niching down that one step takes you out of the pool of all the big players and puts you into your own little niche where you can be a celebrity in that market.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, there you have it, Bill, and everybody else. Thank you for joining us. Here with me is Alex. And Alex, thank you so much for, so generous with your knowledge and your skills.
Dude, what a pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'm very awake now, 5:58 in the morning, and I'm feeling fine.
Amazing. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, live well, live with passion. Know that the best is truly yet to come. Thanks again. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yeukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.